Thank you very much for that introduction, Jimmy. Very kind words. And thank you, Paula, and the Starworksusa team for pulling this, actually, in my view, critical timing for the seminar to take place. Of the many years that I've spoken at similar venues around the world, there is no question in my mind that all of our researches, all those things that we do in our normal lives, have come to a critical point. This is a crucial time to discuss where we have come and where we are going. So I do thank you very much for this opportunity. And you'll see that in the background of some of my presentation, you'll see on the screen a few evolving patterns of the crop circles with very little commentary. That really has been done. So we're in a different time, different presentation, much more related this time to human consciousness. And so let's roll. In every aspect of our lives, we have very limited time to show a better side. In every aspect of our lives, that is so. Today's presentation is titled The Edge of Reality. Today's presentation is titled The Edge of Reality after the book I co-authored with my wife, Cynthia. Many will know that I'm an electrical engineer by profession and that I left my career in middle management in British local government nearly 4 decades ago because of a deeply emotional feeling my first unexpected sighting of circles produced in me in 1983, an overwhelming feeling of awe, a feeling that remains with me to this day. But now it is because of my research findings that I feel this way. That feeling generates a strong emotional calling, which is separate from an intellectual drive to investigate, measure, and locate. This strong emotional feeling comes from the heart, not the mind. This I want to emphasize. It has become clear to me that this difference is important. That feeling led me ultimately to leave my profession and my country, as well as my family in the UK. Why did my first 5 simple circles in a field of wheat near Stonehenge that you're looking at now hold such a powerful charge and a compelling need to look closer? These were simple circles that I termed crop circles. Much of my published research is available in the books that I have authored or co-authored since the first one in 1989. And that, fortunately for me, was an international best-selling book, Circular Evidence, that catapulted the crop circles into the media spotlight around the globe. I feel very strongly that a war about truth versus lies is what is taking place in society. It is very important, which will have long-term consequences. In other words, we must defend the truth if we are to enter a better period. From the very beginning of my research in the early 1980s, there felt to be a call to consciousness. I began talking about it at venues around the world in the 1990s, which frankly didn't go down too well. There were scathing attacks on my use of the term consciousness, being associated with the UFO subject in particular. Along with a couple of other researchers, one being Dr. Stephen Greer, for example, we were accused of turning the UFO subject into a subset of the new age. It is gratifying after all these years to see that it has been accepted by many of the, many of the researchers involved here as the most productive route for research in a number of diverse high strangeness fields. However, it is now moving beyond consciousness being involved. It now raises the question, how should we respond to the calling? What are we being asked to do? The two elderly men who claim to have made some of the early crop circles, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, admitted to BBC television that it often felt like something was directing them to make crop circles in the 1980s. You can follow many other examples of such claims by others more recently, with researchers having similar experiences. You can read about these in On the Edge of Reality. There have been many carefully recorded examples, events taking place, seemingly in response to meditation, prayer, or intuitive direction. As I have already said, these have been observed by researchers and artists who make crop circles. Many of the human circle makers agree with me, and indeed have said so publicly. We are in agreement that from the moment a design is selected in the mind, whether by our own imagination or by intuition and internal direction, the relevant crop circle generates high strangeness events, like a living attractor of kinds. That, I believe, is the calling for sincere interaction to begin. A call to notice, acknowledge, and react. The question now is how to respond. What are we being asked to do? The feeling I've referred to has become more of an agitation, which gives me the sense that another shoe is going to drop, or that something should be happening that is not. Did we miss something of importance? Or is there a human aspect to this that somehow has been pushed under the carpet or overlooked? Just look for a moment at the way these patterns have evolved and what really, frankly, is part of a calling, in my opinion.